Hi, this is Ali Arango of LittleGuyCGI.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make a shirt in Blender 2.8. I'm going to show you how to make the mesh of the shirt. I'm going to show you how to position that mesh so that cloth physics will work correctly with the shirt. I'm going to show you the settings of the cloth settings that you should use. I'm going to show you how to put a collision on a character you see in front of you or a character of your choosing. I am also going to show you a easy form of retopology that will allow the in version of your shirt to be low poly as well as it to be easy to animate with. I'm also going to show you how to put shaders on the shirt that help the shirt look more cloth-like. As I work through this tutorial, I not only explain what I'm doing, I try to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. I like the things that are shown in this tutorial, and I hope that you do as well. Hi, this is Ali Arango of LittleGuyCGI.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make as well as texture a shirt in Blender 2.8. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we want to do is make sure that our 3D cursor is at the center of our scene. If we look here, here's a 3D cursor. If we want to move that 3D cursor, I can hold Shift, then right click, and the 3D cursor jumps to wherever I right clicked at. I'm now going to hold Shift and then press C. And that put the 3D cursor right in the center of our scene. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to make a mesh circle. We're going to hold Shift, press A. This brings up our Add menu. We're then going to go to Circle. Here's our circle right there, you can see. We're going to press R to rotate on the X-axis, 9, 0, and then press Enter to lock that in. Okay, what we're going to do now is hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to push this circle forward. I'm going to go over to this view tool right here. And if I hover over this Y, see how that says Control Number Pad 1? If you have a number pad, you can press 1 and you'll go to front view. I'm going to left click here. That took me to back view. I can just click this again and that'll bring me to front view. If you look to your upper left, you can see I'm in front orthographic view. Orthographic it's kind of a way is looking at 3D objects as though they were 2D, like straight on. Okay, what we want to do with this circle is we're going to push this down. We're then going to press S to make the circle bigger. So we're going to take this to about where our shoulders are at. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our upper left. We're going to go to Edit Mode. Here in Edit Mode, we're going to look at these three buttons here. This is Vertex Select, Edge Select, as well as Face Select. We're going to select Vertex Select. And with all of these vertices selected, if they're not selected, you can press A and they'll be selected. We're going to press E to extrude, right click. Doesn't look like we did anything, but we made new geometry by pressing E to extrude. So now what we're going to do is we're going to press S to scale. And as you scale, think about like this is basically going to be around our character's neck, like the collar. So I'm going to go to about here. I'm going to left click to deselect. See how there's a straight line going here? I don't want this straight line. I'm about to select this top half, but I don't want right here. I want above that line. So kind of like a diagonal line going up. I'm going to go to the upper left, go to Face Select. I'm going to right click to get out of Face Select, press X to bring up our delete button, and then choose Faces to delete. Okay, I'm going to press A to select everything, go to the left of our screen, select the Move tool. I'm going to bring this up. So you can kind of see how like this is, we're setting this up to go around the neck. What we're going to do is left click deselect. We're going to press C for paint select. We're going to select this half of the mesh. I'm going to right click to get out of paint select. Then I'm going to press X to bring up our delete button and then choose Faces to delete. Okay, the reason why we did that is we want to put a mirror modifier on here. Just makes things easier for us. I'm going to go to object mode. There is an auto mirror modifier in Blender that I tend to like a lot. It's caused me some issues. So I'm just going to manually put a mirror modifier on. It's fairly easy to do. With this mesh selected, we're going to click the, looks like a wrench. There brings up the add modifier tab. We're going to click this arrow looking button right here. Then we're going to select mirror. And now we have the mirror modifier on. We're also going to, in this mirror modifier, we're going to click this button here. This is going to make it look like the mirrored part of our geometry, make that part look just like the other geometry. Then we're going to put a check mark next to clipping. And what this is going to do is keep the mirrored part of the geometry from pulling away from this part of the geometry. Okay, with that done, what we're going to do is go to the upper left, go back to edit mode, and see these 4 edges right there. These look good for our arm. This is kind of like aiming down. So I'm going to hover here. I'm going to press L. That lets us select all of our geometry. Just pushing this down. Something like that. And I'm looking at this line. I'm just thinking of this like coming out for the arm. That's why I pushed this geometry down. Okay, so since I pushed that down, I'm going to hover here, press L. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis. Because I wanted this to be slightly above the shoulder there. I'm going to left click to deselect. I'm going to go to the upper left, select edge select. I'm going to press C. And now you can see the benefit of the mirror modifier. What we do on this side happens on that side. I'm going to hold with it. This is C select on. That's why you see that circle. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to deselect the edges here. I just want the edges right on the edge there. I'm going to right click to get out of edge select. Okay, with these edges selected, I'm going to press E to extrude. We can pull this geometry out just like this. So I'm aiming for the wrist. I'm going to press R to rotate like that. Okay, we're going to left click on nothingness to deselect. We're going to left click right here. I'm going to hold control. And then while holding control, I'm going to left click right here. I use something called the shortest path technique. So when I click here and then I hold control, what Blender does is it looks for the selection that's the shortest path in between where I clicked and then the last click. So it's very useful for selecting limited ranges, particularly of edges. Okay, so what we're going to do now with this selected is we're going to press E to extrude. We're going to right click. Doesn't look like we did anything, but we made new geometry. Because we made that new geometry, we can push that new geometry down just like this. So I'm going to press S to scale on a Z axis 0, and then left click to lock that in. That just flatten this geometry out, as you see. And then I'm going to left click to deselect. Okay, let's add some geometry in here. So we're going to hold control, press R. When I did that, I put a loop cut in. I just rolled the mouse wheel. So you see 2 loop cuts. I'm going to put another one. I think that's good. I'm going to left click once, left click a second time to lock that in. I'm going to left click on nothingness to deselect. Okay, we're going to put loop cuts in the arm. I'm going to hold control, press R. Rolling the mouse. And what I'm doing is what I'm thinking of as I'm rolling to put these loop cuts in. Look at the squares on the arm that you see my my mouse is over, right? Now look at the squares where, you know, the areas around the neck, right? That's what I'm looking at. So I'm like, is this enough squares? Is this close enough to that geometry? So I'm going to roll one more time. And I think that's pretty close. So I'm going to left click once. Then I'm going to left click a second time to lock that in. I'm going to left click on nothingness to deselect. Okay, so we're going to do pretty much the same thing here. So we'll hover here. And we're going to hold control, press R. There's one loop cut. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to put more loop cuts in. Same thing. I'm looking for the size of each face to be similar to the size of the other faces in the rest of our mesh. I think it's pretty good there. So I'm going to left click once, left click a second time to lock that in, then left click on nothingness to deselect. Okay, as we work on this, we need our cloth to be big enough to bend around, so to say. So when I say bend around, I mean our mesh here. By the way, if you want to get this mesh, you can go to littleguycgi.com, go to assets, and you'll be able to download this mesh so you can follow along with the tutorial. And when I say the mesh, I mean the guy in the background, the guy that we're putting the shirt on. Anyway, we're going to hover over the mesh, the current mesh that we're working on, the one that we made in Blender here. I'm going to press L. And what I'm going to do is I am going to see right here, I'm thinking, like, see, I can see the character behind. I'm thinking that might cause issues. So because we have a mirror modifier on, right, and we have this clipping on, we can actually pull. And when we pull one side, the clipping will keep this side from separating from this side. So in a way, we can kind of scale without scale. We can scale simply by pulling, because this clipping will keep the mesh together. So with that clipping keeping the mesh together, we're just going to pull to the side and, in a sense, almost scale. And that actually helps here as far as the neck as well. I think I'll lift this up slightly. And then for the arm, I'm going to run face select. I'll click here, hold control, left click here. I'm going to use something called the proportional editing tool to just slightly adjust this, right? Because see how, like, this part is not as much as this part. Like this area we have above the hand, we don't have as much there. So that's my thinking. So I'm going to press the O key. The O key turns on this blue button. It's called the proportional editing tool. The proportional editing tool allows you to manipulate more than one vertice, edge, or face at a time. I guess it would be more than one vertex at a time. Vertice. Anyway, what we're going to do is press G. Now, when we press G, there's a circle there. When I roll the mouse, see the mouse, that circle growing? That's the area of influence. So I'm moving the, just slightly moving this. Now, see how that behind, out of the range of the circle, there's like a bend in the cloth. I can roll my mouse and make the circle bigger. Kind of see how that bend goes away. So then I'm just going to left click to lock that in. Okay, we want to make sure we turn the proportional editing tool off, so we can press the O key to do that. You can also click here to do that. So now I'm going to left click on nothingness to deselect. I'm going to hover here, and then I'm going to press L to select this mesh. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to hold shift and then press D and then right click. I duplicated that mesh. I'm going to pull this duplication of the mesh to the back of our character. Okay, in Blender there's something called normals. Normals are the direction that meshes face, or kind of do you want them to face. We want normals going out this way as well as out this way, right? If you're like, normals, well, how do you see that? Well, you can come over to our display, our overlays, right? And then we look down here, see, we see normals here, right? So we click here, and I'm going to go to vertex select. When I zoom in, okay, this is interesting. Normals are facing this way, like they're facing that way, right? So the normals here are good. The normals here are not good because they're facing towards our character. We want them to be facing away from our character. So I'm going to left click on nothingness to deselect. I'm going to hover here, press L, which selects this entire thing. So I can fix this by going to Mesh, Normals, and then I can select Flip. And now you can see that these little blue lines that represent the normals are facing this direction, and that's what we want, so that's good. Okay, so with that done, let's go back to our overlays. Let's go down to normals. Let's turn this off. I'm going to left click to get out of there. And now what we want to do now is any place that needs to be connected, like here, we want to set this up to be connected. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Edge Select. We're going to click here, hold Control for the shortest path technique, and we're just selecting where we want this to be connected at, right? So I let go of Control, and now I'm holding Shift. The reason why I'm holding Shift is if I wasn't holding Shift, as soon as I clicked here, I selected this as well. If I wasn't holding Shift, this would disappear. Because I'm holding Shift, I'm able to select this while keeping the selection, right? So now I'm going to let go of shift. Now I'm holding control. All right. So control is the only button I'm holding down. I'm moving my mouse, still holding control. Then I left click here. Now I'm letting go of control, right? Okay. So with all of those edges selected, what we're going to do now is we're going to hold control, press E. Hold control and press E, and this brings up our edges menu. And what we want to do is go to bridge edge loops. So we're going to left click, and now we have this, and that is what we want. Okay, I'm going to hold them in the mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to left click. I'm going to try to get a view where I can see this angle as well as here. We're on edge select, which is good. We're going to left click here. Now holding control, left clicking here. I let go of control. I'm now holding shift. I left click there because I was holding shift. I didn't lose the selection. I'm letting go of shift, holding control, letting go of control, rotating the mouse just so I can get a view of this, holding shift, letting go of shift, holding control, left clicking here while holding control, letting go of control, rotating the middle mouse to move this out of the way. I'm holding shift again. I'm letting go of shift. I'm now holding control. While holding control, I'm going to left click there. I'm letting go of control. Okay, so with both those edges selected, I'm going to hold control, press E. This brings up our edges menu. I'm then going to select bridge edge loops. And that is what we wanted. Okay, with this still selected, we're going to go to face select. And with all this selected, what we're going to do is we're going to press the X key, which brings up our delete menu, and we're going to choose only faces, okay? We are choosing only faces. So I'm going to left click, and all of the faces were deleted, but the edges were left. Again, all of the faces were deleted, but the edges were left. That's what you want. Okay, so I'm going to rotate the hold them in a mouse button. We're on face select, which is good. I'm going to press C for paint select. We're going to select all of these faces here. I'm going to right click to get out of paint select. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to press the X button, which brings up our delete menu, and we're going to choose only faces. Okay, we are choosing only faces. So I'm about to left click. I didn't left click yet. Now I am left clicking. All of the faces were deleted and the edges are left, which is what we want. Okay, with that done, what we're going to do is we're going to go to upper left and choose object mode. Okay, so here in object mode, what we're going to do is look to our right. So here is the circle that we made our shirt from. Or we're in the process of making the shirt. So what we're going to do is double click here. We're going to name this low poly shirt, and then press enter to lock that in. Okay, while we're over here, I'm going to click right here just to shrink that out of the way. Okay, with this shirt selected, we're going to hold shift and then press D. So we duplicate the shirt. I didn't click anything. I'm just moving my mouse so we can see that this is duplicated. I'm going to right click to get that to jump back to its original position. Okay, so when you look to our scene view over here, or our collection view, you can see we have this low poly shirt .001. What we're going to do is double click here. We're going to name this high poly shirt, then press enter to lock that in. Okay, so we're going to take the low poly shirt and we're going to hide that. So now we just have our high poly shirt. And what we're going to do is with this shirt selected, we are going to you know what, let's bring back the, let's have the high, we have the high poly. So as well as the low poly. So let's apply the mirror modifier for the low poly. We're going to click on the high poly, apply the mirror modifier for that. Then we're going to click the eye, which will hide the high poly shirt. And then with the high poly shirt selected, we're going to go to add modifier, and we're going to go to subdivision surface modifier, and then left click to add this modifier. Okay, we're going to look down towards our timeline. We want to make sure we're on frame 0 or 1. Looks like we are, which is good. With this shirt selected, we're going to click on, looks like a little circle right here. If you hover over this, you can see it says context .physics. We're going to left click on that. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a cloth physics to this high poly shirt. So we'll left click there. And then we're going to click on our character mesh. Remember, I told you can get this on at littleguycgi.com. With this selected, we're going to select collision. Okay, for the settings we want here, we want to, there's two damping settings. There's one here, and then there's the soft body damping. For this, we want to turn this all the way up to 1. Damping means that soft bodies will have no bounce. As far as I know, when they interact with our collision here. For the thickness outer, we're going to click here, and we're going to change this to 0.001, and then press enter. And then for the inner, same thing. We're going to put in 0.001, and then press enter. I'm going to scroll down. We should be good for that. We're going to go to our, where we're clicking on our shirt, and we have our cloth physics settings right here. And what we're looking for is cloth sewing. So I'm scrolling down. We're going to look to shape. We're going to put a check mark next to sewing. Then for this max sewing force, we're going to enter in a setting of 25. Then press enter to lock that in. Okay, we're going to scroll down more. See this collisions here? We're going to select this triangle here. We're going to leave most of this stuff default. We're going to put a check mark next to self collisions. Okay, we're going to roll the mouse wheel back. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to go up to the upper right, and I'm going to select solid view. We can see our mesh through the shirt. So I'm going to go to object data. This doesn't concern the cloth stem. It's the previous tutorial. Now things look better. And what we're going to do is we're going to click play. Things actually look decent, except for that. So how do we fix that? Well, we should be able to fix that by clicking the cloth stem, scaling up some, and then clicking play again. Okay, and that worked. So we'll right click on the cloth stem. We'll select shade smooth. Okay, so now that we have that, what we can do is this right here. We can go to the modifier panel. We'll left click, we'll add a Solidify Modifier. We'll take this up the opposite direction. There you go. Just slightly, right? I'm going to, for the Solidify Modifier, I'm going to select only rim. And this is one option, one way to fix it, right? I'm actually going to take this off. Okay, when I look at this, there's issues here, there's issues there. However, the main thing I'm thinking is I want more wrinkles. What I am going to do is go to the subdivision panel. I'm going to actually take off the subdivision surface. Okay, I'm going to go back to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the upper left. I'm going to go to edit mode. I'm going to press before pressing anything. I'm going to press A. I'm going to select these edges here. 4 edges. I'm going to right click to get out. I selected this in the back, so I'm going to press C for paint select to deselect here. Right click to get out of there. Oh, look at that. Did not see this. So I'm actually going to deselect. Edge select. I'm going to hold Alt. Alright, fine. We don't want this here. That's what causes issue. So I'm holding Shift. This is getting in the way, so I'm going to click here. Clicking here. We're selecting these 4 faces, then pressing F. Same thing here, pressing F. Same thing here, then pressing F. Same thing here, then pressing F. I'm going to left click to deselect. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm holding Shift, which is allowing me to select more than one edge at a time. Holding Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, what I'm going to do is go to the right to, looks like a triangle with circles on it. I'm going to click this plus button to the right, and then I'm going to select Assign. This will allow us to select these edges if we need to. Again, fairly easily. Now we're going to press A to select everything. We're going to right click, select Subdivide. Then we're going to right click and select Subdivide again. Now we have a lot of geometry there. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to the upper left. We're going to go to Object Mode. We're going to click Play. Shoulders still not working. So we'll click to go back to the beginning of the timeline. Go to Edit Mode. We'll go View Point Front. We'll press Z. We'll go to Wireframe. We'll select. We have this here, which we don't want. And okay, so we'll set this to be 0.450. Press Enter. Assign that. We'll press Z. Go back to Solid View. Left click on nothingness to deselect. We'll go to Object Mode. We'll go to our Physics tab. And here in the Physics tab, we're selecting that group there. shoulders are, what in the world is that? Let's go back. The shoulders are actually holding up. Back to edit mode. Oh, this is still there. So we'll select. Well, let's take this to 0.250. Press enter. We'll sign that. Let's go to view, viewpoint. We'll go to front, Z, wireframe. So we'll select here. As well. Click select, so we selected this other piece. That's frustrating that this is still here. So what we'll do, since this keeps popping up, is we will actually make a new group, then click assign for that group. Press Z, solid view. Go back to object mode. We'll go back to our physics tab. We'll change this group to the new group. We'll try again. Okay, I think this, I'm gonna pause it. I think this is workable. I like the wrinkles here. I think if we add some more weight, let's try it. We might be able to get that one side even better. So I'm going to go back to edit mode. We'll click here. We'll go to select. I'm going to take this to 0.350. Press enter. Then we're going to left click on assign. I'm going to left click. Go back to object mode, and let's try it again. Yeah, it looks better. Excellent. Excellent. So we'll pause here. Okay, so I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, and yeah, I like how the wrinkles look in this. Okay, so how do we fix things like this? Fairly easily, we should be able to just add a Solidify Modifier and change this to only rim. I'm going to set this for even thickness, high quality normals. Then I'm going to, actually we'll take it back this direction. And now okay, even thickness and those. So without those, so we don't have the holes. We have this right here. So now we still have our wrinkles. So that's the only rim. But we have just that one issue there, which is fine. Okay, now that we have this with wrinkles that we like, what we want to do is go to Apply as Shape Key. I'll hide the Solidify Modifier for now. And basically, when we click on, this is what we use to make the vertex groups. When we click on Cloth, when we take this setting up, you can see we're able to have our shape back. And actually, by not putting this up all the way, I don't think we need the Solidify modifier. So I'm going to click that. Yeah, we don't even need that. Okay, so now that we have this, let's click back here. So now what we want to do is take this setting all the way down like this. And if you remember, we made a low poly shirt. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on that low poly shirt, and then we're going to bring that low poly shirt back. So it's in the exact same position as the, it's in the same position as our high poly mesh. Okay, one thing to remember with our low poly shirt, so we want to make sure we're selected on that, is we scaled the high poly shirt up some. So one of the nice things about Blender 2.8 is we can very easily see where our low poly shirt is. That's the one that has the orange outline. Here's our high poly shirt. So what we're going to do is press S to scale. We'll hold Shift for fine control. I'm going to left click to lock that in the paste. So I just pressed S to scale. I held Shift for fine control, and I scaled the low poly mesh up to the size of the high poly mesh. Okay, I'm going to go to the upper left. I'm going to go to Vertex Select. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to left click, hold Shift. Press F to fill, left click to deselect. Holding Shift. Letting go of Shift. Pressing F, left click to deselect. Held the middle mouse button to rotate the view. Left click, holding Shift. Letting go of Shift. Pressing F to fill. Left click to deselect. I'm going to hold Shift. Letting go of Shift. Now I'm pressing F to fill and then left clicking to deselect. Okay, with that done, we're going to zoom back. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate back towards the front. I'm going to go to the upper left. Go back to object mode. I'm then going to go to view and then go to local view. Toggle local view. And now we're back in our regular view. I'm going to left click to deselect. Okay, so why are we going through this? Here's the deal. For us to get the wrinkles, right, we had to take our geometry up fairly high. I'm going to look to the left. I'm going to hide the low poly shirt. I'm going to click on the high poly shirt. So this is selected, right? When we go into edit mode and we press A and we look down towards the bottom, the triangles, this is saying, well, the faces that we currently have selected are 6,846 faces, right? For this shirt. We needed that to get these wrinkles. We needed a lot of geometry, right? So I'm going to the upper left. I'm going to go back to object mode. I'm going to bring back the low poly shirt, hide the high poly shirt. So we're going to click on the low poly shirt. So we're going to press A to select of the geometry. And as far as faces, the faces are 428 faces. So normally, if we wanted to have a shirt that had wrinkles like we we have. We would have to retopologize manually to basically have a lower polygon count. This method here, I'm going to up to the upper left, back to object mode, will allow us to basically have retopology without having the work of doing things manually. This technique is, I learned this technique from a YouTube channel called GIMP Toots. The guy who owns that channel, as far as I know, owns that channel, was bringing things in from Marvelous Designer and using this technique. And I realized that we could use this in Blender. So I think the technique is brilliant. I learned it from him. If you would like to know more about the technique, his YouTube channel is called GIMP Toots. Okay, what we want to do is we want to select our low poly shirt. We're going to go back to edit mode. We want to go to edge select. We're going to hold Alt and select the edges. So I'm holding Alt. Now I'm holding Shift as well as Alt. And I'm selecting the edges. So I have all of the edges around the front selected. So I'm going to hold Control, press E. This brings up our edges menu. And then I am going to mark the seam. I'm going to left click to deselect. I'm going to hold the mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to hold Shift as well as Alt. Oh. Or Alt first. Oh, wrong one. There we go. So now the same thing, we'll hold Control, press E, and then select Mark Seam. So we'll left click to deselect. So now with that done, we'll go back to object mode. And then with our low poly shirt, with the seams marked, we'll turn on our high poly shirt. All right, so now we want to make sure we're selected on the low poly shirt. We'll go to the wrench, which has our modifiers. We'll select Add Modifier. We'll select a Surface Deform modifier. We'll go to the target, and we'll select the high poly shirt as the target, and then we'll select Bind. Okay, so now with that done, what we're going to do is click on our high poly shirt. We'll click on our Object Data tab, and what we're going to do is take this setting here up, and as we take this up, we can see that our low poly mesh is right with it. It's matching that shape key. Okay, so what we want to do is click on our low poly shirt, go to our modifier, and then what we're going to do is select Apply. So then now that low poly shirt is, in that shape, is in the shape that we want it to be. Okay, now what we're going to do is hide our low poly shirt. We're going to look at our high poly shirt. We're going to go to its shape keys. And what we're going to do is go to this basis shape key. We're going to select this minus button because we want this to be permanent. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select this minus key here. So now we don't have any shape keys. This is our high poly shirt. If by some chance you have an issue when you go to take away your shape key so your high poly mesh remains where, you know, how you want it to be, what I do to deal with that, and it kind of, you get kind of like a color change, is I add a Solidify modifier. I just add it. I go to only realm and I apply it, and it solves that issue. So I'm glad it didn't happen here, but if it does, you might, that Solidify, using Solidify might help you with that. Okay, what we want to do now is let's click on our low poly shirt, bring that back, hide the high poly shirt. I'm going to right click, select shade smooth. I'm going to go to UV editing. I'm going to take a quick look. Looks good. Don't let this get to you. Like I said, we'll deal with that. I'm going to go to face select. Zoom in here. I'm going to hold A to select everything. Then I'm going to press U. This brings up our UV mapping menu. I'm going to select unwrap. Okay, what we're going to do now is go to this window. We're going to click new. We're going to name this normal. We're going to click in front of this number. We're going to press 4, hold shift, and then press the 8 for multiply, then press enter. Click in front of the number, press 4, hold shift, press the 8, which is the multiply key. Then we're going to press enter. And this color is fine. We'll click OK. Okay, we're going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. I find that 4K pictures work extremely well for using normal maps. So that's why we took the size of the picture up to what we did. Okay, so what's going on here is this is the image that we're going to bake our normal map to. So we want to save this image. So we're going to go to Image, Save As, and I have this Maps folder here. So I'm going to click Save As Image. Okay, one of the things when you look at this geometry here, see how for the most part the squares are even. This is very useful for when you want to use procedural shading like we're planning to use. That's why it is also useful designing clothes using the cloth sewing, the physics cloth sewing way of making clothes in Blender. Just tends to work very well when you're using textures. Procedural texturing specifically. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to go to our shading tab. Zoom back. We're going to look to our collection menu over here. We're going to click to turn the high poly shirt back on. We're going to click on the low poly shirt. We're going to go to our material tab down here to the right. We're going to click new. We're going to zoom back. We're going to left click on, we're going to go to texture. So we left clicked on add, we're in texture. We want to select an image texture. We're going to left click on add again. We're going to go to vector. There's two normals. The first one is the one you don't want. You want the second one. You're going to left click on normal map. You're going to, okay, that is locked in, so to say. You're going to click open and then find out, you know, where your picture's at. This is the picture we made for the normal. So we're going to left click there. Then we're going to left click on open. Okay, currently to bake normal maps, we need to be in cycles. So we're going to look to our right. We're going to click the second button on the right. The default render engine of Blender is Eevee. We're going to go to the arrow, change this to cycles. And then this same button, when we look down, we can see this bake. So here we have this bake type. This is saying it's already set to normal. And we also have this, make sure this is set to normal, by the way. Mine is set already. You need to make sure this is set to normal. And then this ray distance, you want to have this set to 0.5, okay? Okay, these next couple of steps are important. You need to first select the high poly shirt, hold shift, and then second select the low poly shirt. I'm letting go of shift. And then you need to make sure that these two nodes are not connected and that this node is highlighted, selected, and it's highlighted because it's selected. Okay, with that done, we're going to left click on bake, and we can see near the bottom, our texture is, our normal map is baking. That was fast. I was going to pause the video. So this is baked. So what we want to do is click these three bars here. We're going to left click. And then we're going to go to this image and click Save As Image. I'm going to click this plus button here. It makes this go up by a number automatically. I'm then going to left click Save As Image. And then now with that done, I'm going to hide this high poly mesh. I'm going to, in this normal node here, I'm going to change this to non-color. I'm going to go from color to color for the normal map. And then from this normal to the normal there. And basically, now we have this low poly mesh with the wrinkles of our high poly shirt. Okay, so now that we have that done, what we're going to do is we're going to go to sculpting. We'll zoom back. To this mode, and what we want to do is we're just going to go to we're not going to change the geometry here as far as adding geometry. We're just doing with these this here. So I picked the inflate brush is what I did, and I am inflating basically the shirt. By doing that, it's making these areas go away. Just left clicking again and again. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. Okay, with that done, we'll go back to shading. And if you want your wrinkles to be more prominent, you can actually take this up. Now they're somewhat more prominent. So now let's do the shader. So basically, because we have fairly even geometry, it's fairly easy to now bring in shaders and procedurally shade our shirt. Okay, as far as setting up shaders, shaders kind of like a fancy way of saying nice looking materials. There's some amazing tutorials on YouTube showing you, very complicated ways of how to do things, and they kind of need to be complicated to be amazing. I'm going to show you a fairly simple way to do this. So we're going to go to Add. We're going to go to Texture. We're going to bring in this magic texture. This texture kind of gives you a look like clothing, like a kind of like a cloth look that I like. I also think that by breaking up the different materials that make up something like a shirt tends to make it look more interesting. Okay, so we have this, right? We're going to go to Add Vector. We're going to bring in a bump map. As well. Okay, not whenever, but often when you're working with shaders, you're going to hear people talk about the Node Wrangler add-on. In Blender, there are add-ons that you can activate. If you go to Edit, Preferences, you go down to add-ons list, make sure you have a check mark next to the Node Wrangler. It is extremely useful. It does a lot of work for you, makes things easier for you. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go from color to actually height, right? I'm going to hold Control, hold Shift. Actually, no. With this selected, I'm going to hold Control, press T. These things popped up, these two nodes. The reason why they popped up like that is because I have this add-on that is built into Blender. It's called an add-on, but it's in Blender. So if you're brand new to Blender and you're like, what are you talking about an add-on? I'm not talking, just to be clear, I'm not talking about downloading anything new. This is in Blender, you just activate it, okay? And when I clicked here, I held Control, press T, these nodes popped up, all right? All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click here, right? I'm also going to hold Control and hold Shift and then left click here. Now I let go of Control and Shift. And what that did was that made that Node Wrangler add-on that I told you about, put a viewer in here, and it lets us see this pattern here. All right. So we can see the output just as it shows from here. So it's useful. So we're going to take this scale fairly high up. And what we're going to do is we're not going to use this for, take it up higher. We're not going to use this really for color. We're using this for the zoom in so you can see. You'll see. We're using it for the bump map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this normal okay. Let me disconnect this normal here. I'm going to go from this normal to this normal here. I'm going to connect this normal here. Now I'm going to hold Control, hold Shift, and then left click here. So what you have is this now, right? It's too strong. So what I'm going to do is go to this strength, and I'm going to enter in a setting of 0.08 and then press enter. Tends to be a good setting. Okay, if I zoom in, you should be able to see the, to me it looks like cloth, a quick version of cloth, but it definitely doesn't look like this, and you can control the size. You can also rearrange this more. So what we're going to do now is my current plan is to use this here and have another material for here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the right, click on the material tab, and then we are going to go to the right, click this plus button to make another material. We're going to click new. And then for this material, we're going to do a similar thing. We're going to go to add texture. We're going to bring in a noise texture. We're going to go to add vector and then bump, similar to before. Also similar to before, I'm going to click here, hold Control, then press T. The node Wrangler brought those in, very similar to before. I'm going to go from color to height, also similar to before. I'm going to hold Control, hold Shift, also similar to before. And right now we actually can't see our material because we have the other material on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to edit mode. And we're actually going to press C for paint select. We're going to select all of the areas that we want for the material. Just this whole front here. We don't want the sleeves. Right clicking to get out of paint select. Pressing C to go back into paint select. Right clicking to get out of paint select. Okay, I'm going to hold the mouse button to rotate the view. Roll back some. I press C for paint select. Very similar to what we did before. We're just selecting, and we're basically selecting what we want to assign our new material to. I right click to get out of paint select just so I could rotate. Now I'm putting paint select back on again. Then when I right click, so basically I have all of this all selected here, right? So what I can do now is I can go to this second material and then I can click assign. All right. So now when I click assign, now you can see the node texture, right? So I'm going to click off of that. I'm going to go to the upper left, go back to object mode. So here is our node texture. So we want to do similar to before, take this up, way up. Okay, so now we're going to go from normal to normal, like we did before. We're going to left click here. Well, we're going to hold Control, hold Shift, and I'm holding Control, I'm holding Shift, now I'm left clicking here. All right, so we have this, again, too strong. We're going to use that 0.08. Tends to work well. It just gives us a different look from there. Take this up higher. Somewhere around there. Okay, I'm going to give this like a bluish color. And this is, with this being closed, right? This obviously does not look like closed. There's a couple things going on. Texture isn't bad, but it's shiny. So what you want to do is take down this specular. You can leave a slight bit on because clothes do have a slight bit of shininess. You also want to take the sheen all the way up. Kind of gives things kind of like a glow, right? So we can break up this color to make this not look so computerish. Okay, so to break up that color, what we're going to do is we're going to select Add. We're going to go to Texture. We're going to bring in this Voronoi texture. A lot of times when you're working at shaders, you're going to go to Add, and you will use color ramps a lot, a whole lot. So we're going to actually go from color to factor, and we're going to put, we'll leave this like this for this color. We already selected this color, right? So what we can do with this, these two sliders are in the color ramp. We'll click here, click this eyedropper, select the color here. So then we'll plug this color into the base color there. So now we have that. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to increase the scale. Way up. Okay, another thing we can do to even out that color, so we can go to Add, Color, and bring in a RGB mix. We'll put this in the bottom. And what this will do is allow us to control the effect of what we see there. For this color, let's click here, take this eyedropper, we'll select the blue, and make this darker, because we want this to be kind of subtle. We also can use this here to adjust how things look there. I just selected that blue just to get there. So with so much blue, I think I'll go back towards this factor allows us to control how much is coming through. So I'm going to click back on this shader. It's like a yellow color. I'll turn down the specular. I'll take the sheen, turn that all the way up. Okay, and you might sit there and say, okay, this, and I was looking at it, I'm like, what's going on here? We don't have wrinkles there, and that's because we need to have a normal map node. We also need to have an image texture for that normal map. So we'll click Open, Maps, Normal to, Open. We'll go to color space. This is already non-color, which is good. Color to color. We'll go to, we'll actually pull this over. This plugs into here. So now we have our wrinkles there. Okay, what we're going to do now is click on this yellow material. Just going to move this to the side. I'm going to go to Add, Texture, Voronoi, Add, Color Ramp, Add, Color, Mix RGB. I'm going to go from the color to fact, from the Voronoi to the color ramp, to the color of the color ramp to the bottom color of the mix RGB. I can press C to select these nodes, right click to get out of paint select, and then move these nodes over like this. Then I'll connect from color to, before I do that, I'll hold the middle mouse button. I'll select here, go to the eyedropper, select there, go from color here to the base color there. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to hover over here, hold Control, press Shift. Take this number pretty high up. And then we'll hold Control, Shift, then left click here. Then we can take this factor down to mix that color, make that effect less. I think just that slight variation tends to make things look better. So now we have the basic color, and this can be adjusted. So now what we're going to do is go to Layout, click, so we can see our colors, and also we still have this issue here. Okay, the way we're going to deal with this is we're going to manually fix this. So with this shirt selected, we're going to go to the upper left. We're going to select Edit Mode. Zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button. As I'm zooming in, my zoom is becoming less and less. I'm going to go to Vertex Select. When that happens, you can select something like a vertex, go to View, and then go to Frame Selected, and you'll zoom in quickly. You will also be able to zoom in normally again as well. So with that vertex selected, I'm holding Shift. I'm going to hold Alt, press M, select at center, click here, hold Shift, Alt M, at center, left click here, hold Shift, Alt M, at center, click here, click both of those, Alt M, at center, hold Shift, hold Alt M, at center, hold Shift, Alt M, at center, hold Shift, Alt M, at center. I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan down. I'm going to go to View, Local View, Toggle Local View, just to make things easier to see. Select there, I'm holding Shift, Alt M, at center. Select it there, hold Shift, Alt M, at center. Left click, hold Shift, Alt M, at center. I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. Alt M, at center. 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 I'm gonna hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. Same thing. Almost through. Cloth settings that I used, I got that from a YouTube channel, Masbako. If you want to see more about that, I recommend you go watch his videos. He does good YouTube videos. Almost do this arm part. I'm going to hold shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. The middle mouse button to pan. I held the middle mouse button to rotate. If anyone out there knows a faster way to do this, I would be very pleased to know that. I do know about Shift R for repeat the last command. Sometimes it causes me issues, and I do like it. However, this is almost as fast as that. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel back. I'm going to go to the upper left, go to object mode. Okay, I'm going to go to view, local view, toggle local view. With this, we have this here. We can use the sculpt brush to deal with this. That might cause some issues, so I think I'm going to go to edit mode. I'm going to press O to turn on proportional editing. Let's try it again. Might have pressed 0. Press O. There we go. Let's try just moving this stuff up some. fairly quick. Let's go to object mode. Pretty good job. There's multiple ways you could do it. You could use the mask modifier as well here. Be careful about going to sculpting mode if you just want to use the inflate brush. Turn off symmetry so that you don't have your shirt looking too symmetrical. I'm going to zoom in. There is our shirt. I'll hold shift and the right button. I like it. I like how it came out. It's also low poly as well. Okay guys, that's it for the tutorial. For all of those of you out there that like the videos on this channel and reshare them and like them, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And for those of you who are new to this channel, if you like the videos on this channel and you would like to see more, please subscribe and thank you for viewing.